Welcome to day 2 of Global Time Attack here at the world-famous Michelin Raceway Road Atlanta. With ever-changing conditions yesterday, we were still able to see some incredible lap times laid down when the opportunity arose. Faris Khartoumi has only completed one lap in competition this weekend, but it was good enough for the unlimited rear-wheel drive record with a 1:21.949. The lap was far from perfect as he had a power steering line failure mid-lap, which left him having to manhandle his car to the start-finish. He'll be chasing the overall record of a 1:19.509 held by Mr. William Al Young in the world-famous PZ Tuning Honda Civic. Jackie Ding was able to find a lap time in the dry second session of a 1:25.897, just 12 hundredths off the record held by Amir Bentatu in his now retired Street Class RS Future Acura NSX. Jackie says the pace is in the car. The team has done an incredible job of giving him a machine to go out there and take his record back, but he just needs to button down and better himself. Jonathan Wheeler came out strong with a 1:34.863, resetting the enthusiast rear-wheel drive record by over half a second and just behind the overall enthusiast record holder Zachary Sober by just 6 hundredths. He should have 3 good sessions on track today to be able to find the little bit of pace he needs to be able to take that as long as his machinery can hold together. We're going to go ahead and start here with Group 4 Session 1. That is Group 4 Session 1 at Day 2 Michelin Raceway Road Atlanta. Hot laps should be starting now. For those of you that want to keep track of timing and scoring, see timing from yesterday, or just overall see where people are gridded up, please make sure to check out the Race Hero app on your Android or Apple device, or go to racehero.io. These are the beginnings of the first hot lap. We do have 4 run groups in this very first session. 4 run groups in this very first session. Let me go ahead and get you today's schedule up. That way you can see what we're doing and what our timing is going to be like. For the very first session of the day, we always run 4. It's going to be from 8 to 9:15. Once we go to Time Attack Session 2, we break it down to 3 run groups from 2 and 3. So make sure you check the Race Hero app or on your device or on the website. 10 to 11:15 will be Session 2, and then 11:50 to 12:55 will be Session 3. These are the 3 last time sessions of the event, so let's see what kind of lap times we can have laid down. It does look like Nicholas Bright was leading this session out. His fastest time in his Pro Comp Honda Accord Euro R Spoon Sports race car was a 1:42.117. He was pushing the limits of that car yesterday. He did have a few offs and going into 10A, 10B, though he is running slicks on a wet track condition. Today should really give him the opportunity to show what kind of pace that car has. First lap of a 1:46.571. For those of you curious, this is the actual Spoon Sports car that was running in BTCC, wheel-to-wheel racing. Nothing has changed. It is a nostalgia car. He brings it here out of love of the sport. He does have his own Time Attack car that is being built. He's had others in the past, but as long as that car is still being built, he still wants to come out and support and run, so he brings the Spoon car. We have Mr. Marshall Moore in that GR86 with a 48.382. Followed by Luther Lloyd with a 51.276. Seems these drivers are all getting up to pace. Everyone's a bit slower than the lap times they set yesterday. Obviously, these track conditions are still green. There's not going to be much rubber laid down anywhere besides where the drift paddock is. It's going to take a few laps for these drivers to rubber down and get a little bit more comfort in what they're doing. It's the only downfall of the rain. Obviously, we have a dry track, but it still takes a little bit of time for it not to be so green. Right there, Nicholas Bright taking 2 seconds off his first lap, so the comfort's coming into him. Temperatures are getting into those tires, and he's absolutely getting rubber down for everybody else. It's not going to affect them too much on a good majority of this track where they're wide open throttle. It's the braking zones and the high commitment corners like turn 12, the downhill, and turn 1, the uphill, that are going to be the biggest places where having that rubber down matters. Because we are not wheel-to-wheel racing, going into the brake zone side by side is not something they have to worry about, so they don't need rubber all throughout those areas. It does look like Luther Lloyd with a 147.362 on his second lap. That is in his MRS. That shot gives you a great view of what these drivers are really getting into. Now, the hardest part for you to see is how blind that corner really is, but when they come over that crest, they have to already be committed into their turning point for coming down 12. Good 4 or 5 story drop from top to bottom, so it's really important you find out where your turn-in marker is, where you're going long before you enter that corner. The few things that people would not understand without being here, or at least seeing enough racing here, is how much commitment this track is, but also how much elevation change it is. On paper, this track does look kind of like an everyday track. It would make you wonder why this place is world famous. But going through the S's, going up and then down to the base of it, then coming back up through the final S's to make that blind left-hander, it is very, very scary the first few times you're there. That back section there, those 2 right-handers, the 2 slowest corners of the track, you really want to set them up or quote-unquote diamond them to try and get as much speed as possible down this back straight. The back straight is raw commitment. I was watching an in-car of Eric Fleming yesterday. He was hitting 180 miles an hour before the brake zone into 10A, 10B. If, for those of you wondering how that feels, obviously most people aren't going to know what 180 miles an hour feels like, but you're going around a blind kink down a hill before you hit that braking zone. It takes a lot of faith in yourself, your vehicle, and your team to be able to push a car like that. That's Miss Corin Tyson right there in her JST Performance GR86 with a 155.191. That's the first event back for that car. They had a few issues with it, had to take care of some repairs. It's good to see them back on track. About 10 minutes into this very first session, and just like yesterday with a green track, these drivers are doing everything in their power to just lay down a fast lap time with not as much rubber on the course. What we are hearing, though, is from the other teams, people have spoken to drivers that have already come in. The track feels good. The weather feels good. We actually have the sun out today. Yesterday, the temperatures were great for power. It's just we had no sun, giving that track that little bit of warmth you want to help get heat into the tires and make sure that you can let the fastest lap you can. We're also seeing drivers not making as many small errors. We had quite a few small errors in a 10A, 10B. When you had a fresh track, a little damp, people were really outbraking themselves and ruining lap times. It does look like Mr. Marshall Moore is the fastest of this run group. Now, his fastest lap time yesterday with a track that had been cleaned up, second session, rubber down, was a 43.173. He's about 6/10 off of that, but this is his first laps of the first session. I feel like this track is absolutely gaining pace. Even from this view from the tower on this locked out camera, you can really see the difference between today and yesterday. If you're just tuning in for today, remember you can watch all of yesterday's broadcast on YouTube. You'll be able to see how much overcast we really had, how the track conditions changed from session to session. But even from right here, you can see how bright it is outside. Yesterday, there was absolutely no point in time where you had any sun coming through or any brightness whatsoever. Multiple times through every session, we had small amounts of rain. So today is absolutely a much better day for these competitors. That's the one thing about what we do. You want to make sure that you set the lap time when the track allows you to. There is no perfect session. In a perfect world, you go out session 1, lap 1, the track's perfect, you set a flyer and you just try to build from there. But as yesterday proved to especially some of our most seasoned competitors like Jackie Ding, when the track gives you the time to set the lap, you have to do it. And he himself told me that he just made some mistakes that he's going to fix today. Monty Sarr in that Honda Civic, Enthusiast Class Civic, he's actually set a faster lap this session than he did all of yesterday. He's at a 43.158. His fastest lap of yesterday was a 43.639. So he's already picked up half a second of pace. And that is going to be the end of this session. Anyone that's on a flying lap will still get to count it, but the first person to go through the checker flag is going to be Mr. Monty Sarr with a 42.518. He took an entire 6/10 out of that lap and well over a second out of his best from yesterday. So that's a great finishing touch right there to his final lap of the first session of the day. There goes Mr. Luther Lloyd in his limited class MR2 Spider with his final lap. The one thing I did have going on is I was able to speak to some of these drivers yesterday who were actually running the Yokohama tires in the rain. Yokohama has been a title sponsor for Global Time Attack and Super Lap Battle for a few years now, and they've not only supplied us with some of the best tires in the industry, with some of the best knowledge in the industry. We have nothing but love for Yokohama here, and I gotta say the competitors that were on the tires in the rain said they did a great job of moving water and allowing them to have a little bit of confidence. Big shout out to Yokohama for not only what they do for us, but the entire motorsport world. Does look like we have everybody coming off track now. No one else on a flying lap. Monty Sar with a 42.518 is going to lead this session to its end. We still have 3 more run groups in this session. That was Group 4, Session 1. Remember, if you're just joining us, download the Race Hero app on your Apple or Android device, or go to racehero.io to be able to see not only the lap times being set, but also where your favorite drivers are gridded up. The first session consists of 4 run groups, but we consolidated it into 3 after this session. We like to re-rack the drivers based on pace. Obviously, the track conditions are completely different today from yesterday, so we would want to make sure that they have the best opportunity to set the fastest lap possible. Coming up soon is going to be Group 3. Group 3 does consist of Robert Rushton leading it out in his enthusiast class Honda Civic Type R. His fastest lap time from yesterday was a 37.341. It does look like we have Robert Rushton followed out by Savannah Little in that C8. We have Kevin Vu in his Acura Integra Type R, followed by Kyle Gurney in his Volkswagen Golf R. Do I see a Brad Balcom right behind him in his Mitsubishi Evo 10, followed by Ray Guerrero in his Turbo S. Then we have Ian Buenaventura in his Honda Civic Type R street class car, followed by what looks like Nicholas Steniford in his Honda S2000. These are your drivers for the Group 2 Session 1. We'll go ahead and get the rest of these Group 4 Session 1 drivers out. I do apologize. This is Group 3 Session 1 going out. We do have cars going out on track now, I believe, for Group 3, Session 1. We should see some hot laps starting soon. The one beautiful thing about Road Atlanta is lap time really is conducive of getting a good amount of hot laps in early. The bad thing about Road Atlanta is because the lap is so quote-unquote short, one small mistake and it just snowballs into having a lap time that you're just unhappy about. So these drivers, with the minimal amount of time they have on track, really have to button down and put down the fastest lap they possibly can. It's going to be led by Robert Rushton, who, if you guys really pay attention to this lead car coming down 12, yesterday, even in the wet, he was taking a lot of inside curbing through 12. That shows trust in yourself and your vehicle, because 90% of people don't even touch the inside curb there. Now, people will tell you it's easier to do in a front-wheel drive car, obviously, but he's still taking a lot of curb. It's very terrifying to see from up here in the tower, because I always think we're going to see an incident, but he's been making it work the entire event. And obviously his lap time proves he knows what he's doing with it. Have these drivers scrubbing their tires, keeping their gap through the back straight. Here comes the first driver down 12. Let's see if he does what he did yesterday. Look at that, all the inside curb. So this is going to be the start to his hot lap. Yesterday, at the end of his hot lap, I mean, he was basically picking two wheels up off the ground. Following him through the start-finish is Savannah Little in that C8. They were having a few odd issues where it was going into a, not limp mode, but it was getting a brake code. Now, this could be from the fact that they forgot to take it in to have the software updated after they bought the vehicle, but more than anything, they were able to clear it, re-bleed the brakes, and the car's been running well. She has a lot of faith in the vehicle right now. Those of you wondering who's in that Porsche Turbo S right there, that's Mr. Ray Guerrero. You may recognize him from Super Lap Battle and other events where he's usually driving his Viper. Why he brought the Porsche to this event, I'm unsure, as he's become very confident in the Viper, but the good thing is whenever he has an issue with one, he makes sure he comes with the other. Behind Ray Guerrero is Ian Buenaventura in his Street Class Civic Type R, and right behind him is Nicholas Steniford. Every driver on track right now has absolutely started a hot lap. Let's go ahead and see how they lay it down. This is a great shot coming through the S's right here. What you don't see is the elevation change, but what you do see is how much commitment it takes. They're going to go ahead and hit the bottom of the S's right here, and this is where you actually start to climb back up the hill. The left-hander out of the S's is actually a blind uphill. You have to commit to your turn in, use the curbing on the outside to carry as much speed as possible like Nick did right there. You have to min-max every corner on this track to try and gain lap time. They're going to do that all the way to the two slowest corners on the track. They're going to try and diamond those corners to get as much speed down the back straight as possible before the hard brake zone into 10A, 10B. Currently, Robert Rushton with a 39.271 on his first lap. Robert Rushton's fastest lap of yesterday was a 37.341. So this obviously being a green, clean track, he's going to go ahead and have to pick up the pace and get there slowly. But we did have Savannah Little with a 42.964, her fastest time being a 38.3 yesterday. Kevin Vu with a 41.0. Now, Kevin Vu's fastest time from yesterday was a 38.3, and he's been setting personal bests all weekend, so we do expect a lot from him. Ray Guerrero, on the other hand, is already up to pace with a 40.5. His fastest yesterday was a 39.336. Ian Buenaventura with a 42. His fastest time from yesterday was a 39.505. And we have Nicholas Steniford with a 42.130, who set a 39.867 yesterday. These drivers are anywhere between 1 to 2 seconds off their fastest laps, but they're picking it up quickly. Yesterday it took almost 3 sessions to get these lap times down to there. With the sun being out, the track being clean, drivers a little bit more confident, we're going to continue to see these lap times drop. Do you see how much curbing he takes there? Somebody who's driven Road Atlanta will tell you that is the most terrifying thing you have ever seen. Nobody takes that much inside curb, but Mr. Rushton has no concern whatsoever. He's now within 7/10 of his fastest lap with that 38.0. There's Kevin Vu committing a little bit more down turn 12. Little breather there coming down, but he stayed pretty matted down the hill. He's got a lot of faith in himself and his car. Kevin Vu's fastest from yesterday is a 38.390. That was a 39.217. There's Kyle Gurney with a 39.059. He's getting close, about 7/10 off his fastest. Now Ray Guerrero went about 3/10 slower, so he may just need to clean up a few things, see where he can pick up some space. Ian Buenaventura with a 41.017, picking up pace little by little. There's Mr. Steniford, a 41.313. Now, Nick's car is running in limited class just based on the modifications, but this is the car he races all over the States. It's set up for wheel-to-wheel. It's just basically set up to go somewhere and beat the ever-loving out of it, and it's always great to see him out here. That, once again, all I hear is tire squeal coming down 12. I see a car lifting up tires from hitting the inside, and all it is Robert Rushton doing a 38.075. About 0.3 off his fastest lap. I feel like he's going to keep pushing until he gets there. Savannah picking up pace with a 39.118 in that C8. And here comes Kevin Vu. Let's see if he's picked up any pace on this lap. Nice strong commitment through 12. There it is, a 38.660, about 0.3 off of his fastest. Assuming the weather stays good, the sun stays out, the temperature stays the same, if you were to ask my opinion, I'd say the fastest session of the day is going to be the second one. These drivers in the first session are really putting good rubber down. Everyone's feeling confident in going faster. But realistically, we need the track to develop a little bit more for these drivers to pass their times from yesterday. There's still going to be people who go faster, like Mr. Kyle Gurney just did a 39.059 on that lap. Oh, man, look at this great shot right here. Now, we wanted our drone pilot, who does a great job. Huge shout out to Eddie up there. But we wanted you to see what the drivers see. Do you know right here where I'm telling you that this corner is blind when you crest this hill? You're not going to be able to see much at all. We're going to go ahead and give you a little bit closer view of what these drivers see. But once you come up and over this hill, you have to already be committed. Boom. He's obviously coming into the pits. He was committed far left. But they have to know their turn-in point. They have to know their marker. Right there, he was already leaning into the corner before he ever crested that hill. A lot of respect for these drivers that push hard here at this track, because the amount of commitment you need down 12 and up 1 to be able to set a lap time is incredible. People ask all the time about turn 1, and they ask why that corner is quote-unquote so dangerous, and truth be told, you're trying to carry as much speed as you can to take it to the S's. We've had drivers, not just us, every series has had drivers push a little too hard into 1, put 2 tires on the outside, and whip it right into the inside wall. It's never good to see, but that's what comes. There's Nick right there coming in a little too hot into 12, using the outside curbing to try to straighten the car out. Still set a fast lap with a 46.81 though. Lap after lap, Mr. Rushton just wants to put fate on the line. Now, he did a cool-down lap right there. That was a 157.635. What he was doing is he was cooling the engine temps, cooling the tire temps. He probably wanted to go for one more flyer before he finished this session. We're about 11 minutes into this 15-minute session, so he knows he's running out of time to set a faster lap. You cool the car down a little bit, you cool the tires down a little bit, you go back out there and you just try to go faster. Almost looked like that car may have had a small issue coming down 12, just trying to feel it out before he went for a flyer. Kyle Gurney, though, no issues whatsoever, still pushing hard down 12 to set these lap times. Got drivers coming in, Nick Steniford coming in. Ian Buenaventura, though, coming down to set another lap time. You can really see the difference in line between him Robert and Kevin Vu. Robert Rushton obviously puts half of his car over 12. Here's how we have Robert coming down 12 as we speak. Let's see if he sets a faster lap on this one. You know what? Just a skosh slower, the 38.101. He's probably reached the max of what those tires will do on this session. Savannah Little, on the other hand, with a 38.630, just finding more and more pace every single lap she's in. There's Kevin Vu and his team. They've obviously already checked tire pressures. Maybe even added a little pressure there on one side, as they do have a mobile compressor. I don't think he's going to have enough time to go back out there, so they were more along the lines of getting data. Kevin's been coming out and setting fast lap times, personal best. Anyone who's here or around here, I would highly recommend checking out his car. That is one beautifully built DC2 Acura Integra. Looks like Kevin went back in. If a driver were to go out at this exact moment, they'd have enough time to do a warm-up. It would have to be a fast warm-up, though, and do a flyer. Looks like we have Robert Rushton coming in. He has done 6 laps with a 1:36.569 being his fastest. Now, that 1:36.569 is almost a full second faster than his fastest lap of yesterday. Savannah Little set another fast lap with a 38.013. That is 0.3 faster than her fastest yesterday. So every single driver out here is finding the pace right now. Remember, this is Group 3 of Session 1. If you're just tuning in, remember, you can catch everything from yesterday live on YouTube. It is up already. If you want to see yesterday's lap times, go to racehero.io or download the Race Hero app on your Apple or Android device. It will not only show you the fastest laps of yesterday, it will show you every lap a driver did. It will also help you know where your driver is gridded in the upcoming group swaps. We're running 4 groups of this session, but Session 2 and Session 3 are both going to consist of 3 groups. Make sure you keep track of that, because you would hate to have to miss the person you're trying to follow. We do have Group 2 lining up to go out. That is, Group 2 is lining up to go out, while Savannah still sets hot laps. 37.704. She is finding the pace, guys. That's almost 0.5 faster than her lap of yesterday. Whatever it is, she's figured out what's going on with that C8, because every single lap is a little bit faster. With Group 2, that's going to be led out by Mr. Corey Ross in his BMW M3, fastest lap of yesterday at 33.089. And with how the track has been developing, I expect that to drop significantly. Corey Ross is going to be followed out by Mr. Mike Osborne in that Nissan GTR with a fastest lap of a 33.145. Those two are fighting for position, both limited class cars. We don't see it right now. That'd be Mr. Philip Grabo. He did do 1 lap yesterday, but it turns out they had an issue and are trying to find a replacement part. We have an Evo 8 driven by Michael Cosior. That's a fastest lap of a 33.892. Looks like we see a brand new set of sticker tires there on Mr. Michael Lauder's car. Kevin Parlett and his LS Powered G sitting there in the back ready to set some faster lap times. That man was getting comfortable in his car and actually broke his shifter in half. There's always got to be something there, right? Looks like we'll see Jonathan Wheeler right in front of where Mr. Lauder is. Jonathan Wheeler trying to reset the enthusiast overall record. Sent out on track now. Getting messages from drivers that had already come in saying every single lap they were out, the track felt faster. And with the weather holding off, it looks like no rain is coming. That means these drivers in Group 2 and Group 1 are absolutely going to have the opportunity to set some fast laps. All right, so it looks like Mr. Corey Ross has led them out. He's looking to beat a 33.089. Mike Osborne right behind him looking to beat a 33.145. They're less than a tenth apart, so these drivers are just fighting for position at this point. So let's see who ends up on top. Michael Kozior in that Evo 8 is looking to beat a 33.892, with Chin-Chi Chang looking to beat a 34.129. Two people who are also fighting for position in street class. All right, here's Mr. Corey Ross on his first flying lap. 36.926. He didn't find the pace on the first lap, but Mike Osborne did, already in the 33s. Still slower than his fastest lap from yesterday of a 33.145, but it shows that the pace is there and he's ready to find it. Looks like Corey Ross is going to have to step it up just a little bit if he expects to stay in front of Mr. Osborne. Chin-Chi Chang with a 33.3 32.365. That's already faster than the 34.129 he set yesterday. Michael Kosior, though, significantly slower with a 45. Kyle McCoo with a 34.899. It's about 6/10 off his fastest, but we have Jonathan Wheeler with a 34.781. Jonathan Wheeler's fastest time was a 34.863 before that, so that's great to see. He's setting faster laps. We are going to need to see Mr. Wheeler get down to the low 34s if he wants to go ahead and hold that overall record in enthusiast class. Corey Ross still in the 34s, but Mike Osborne at a 32.265. That is going to be the fastest person in this session, the fastest time of this session, and it's going to put him well ahead of Corey Ross in the limited class standings. Looks like Chin-Chi Chang and the USR Honda Civic went a little bit slower on that one. They were running a 33.365 on that first lap. Yesterday, they only ran a 34.129, so they've picked up the pace. Michael Kosior still going slower, went a 53 that lap. Jeremy Lauder, on the other hand, with a 33.283. His fastest lap from yesterday was a 35.096. Now, he was really having to build up the pace, but that's a lot of power to put down to the rear wheels in the rain. Here's Devin Hoffman completing a lap with a 37.383. Her fastest lap from yesterday was a 37.021. So she's finding the pace. She's getting there, matching it very quickly. Let's see if she can go ahead and surpass that time. It does look like we have Mike Osborne coming into the pits, but Corey Ross is going to have to try really hard to start setting some fast laps. He did a cool down there, so he's going to go for a flyer now. He handily stayed in front of Mike Osborne yesterday, but today is a whole different story. For those of those wondering who are listening who may not be completely in tune with what's going on, it doesn't matter if you set the lap first lap of the first day or last lap of the last day. That's the lap that counts. With that being said, Kyle McCoo with a 33.047. That is almost a little bit over a second faster than his fastest lap from yesterday. That was a 34.129. He's having no issue picking up the pace in this brand new clean track that these drivers are on. Group 1, Group 4, and Group 3 obviously put down some good rubber for these drivers because Mike Osborne came out, set a fast lap on his very first one. And every single driver, let's see, minus Kevin Parlett, who has not completed a lap, and minus Michael Kosior, have set faster lap times than yesterday. Here's Devin Hoffman. See if she's able to pick up a few tenths to a few seconds on that lap. Looks like we do have Mike Osborne's tire pressures being checked. He may be going back out to set another flyer. Devin did pick up a good amount of time, a 36.585, 6/10 faster than her fastest lap of yesterday. We know that she started yesterday with a broken transmission, blew up in practice. They went and found one locally, put it back in, did some tests, got the car ready, and they're out here today to make it happen. Kevin Parlett finally starting his first flyer. If you're looking at Race Hero, it's a 5-minute lap, obviously, because he had to come in on his warm-up, so he never crossed start-finish. Corey Ross also not going any faster. Corey Ross is going to have to try and find some pace with his team if he wants to stay ahead of Mike Osborne, who handily put down a 32.665. That lap from Kyle McCoo, a 158.437, was a cool-down lap. You see this a lot on track. Some drivers will come into the pits, talk to their team, maybe get tire pressures adjusted. Other drivers, they're in the zone. They want to stay on track. They want to go fast. So he did a 30-second slower lap to cool the car down, cool the tires down, maybe cool his head down a little bit, get the jitters out, try and go out and set something faster. He did a 33.047 on his fastest so far, so he's obviously having an issue finding the pace. Here comes Kevin Parlett for his first flyer, followed by Mr. Ross. Let's see if Corey Ross or Kevin Parlett were able to pick up some time. Here we have Corey Ross with a 33.104. That is faster than his fastest lap. Still not in the 32s, but he's getting it. Kevin Parlett with a 36.467. Kevin Parlett's fastest lap of yesterday was a 36.919, so he's really getting it now. This beautiful cloud cover. You know what's crazy is these clouds look lower today than they were yesterday, but we actually have the sun breaking through. It does look like the clouds are winning right now, though it has gotten darker. Hopefully this doesn't mean weather, but it does mean that the sun is not here to warm this track up for these drivers. Give them that little bit of extra. Give them that Scotia feel that they need to get that faster lap. These drivers are really going to have to pick it up. Going to lose our drone in the clouds, my friend. That was Kyle with a 35.066. So he has not picked up pace since his one cool-down lap on track. He may have reached the limit of those tires in this session, but he still laid down a flyer with a 33.047. Mike Osborne, on the other hand, 32.265, went in, talked to his team, go ahead and dusted his shoulder off and went back to the paddock. He feels like he set his fastest lap of this session. That right there looks like Corey Ross may be coming in. Is he setting up to fly? Oh, he's setting up for another flyer. Now, I know you guys watching just like me notice that nobody touches that inside curve. Well, Corey Ross with a 32.848. About 0.6 off of Mr. Mike Osborne, but he's getting it now. He's getting closer every lap. He found whatever he was looking for. Now he's got to keep pushing for it. We have Michael Kosior with a 32.367. Michael's fastest lap of yesterday was a 33.892. I don't know where he found this lap, but man, he had no problem putting it down. Now, for those of you wondering who is fighting who on track, you can actually see a color combination to the left on the leaderboards. You'll see Mike Osborne is leading this session with a 32.265. The color next to his name is blue. Blue's for limited class. Michael Kosior with a 32.367 is going to have green next to his name. That's for street class. You'll notice 1, 3, and 4 are all blue. They're all fighting each other for position. So currently Corey Ross with the 32.848 is 0.6 away from Mike Osborne for position. Now Michael Kosior's closest competitor in this session is in 6th place with a 33.365. Chin-Chi Chang and Trevor DeGianio. He is from USR Racing. Devin Hoffman, not sure if she came in and talked to her team or not. She absolutely did because she's starting another flyer. That was a 5.09. She's ready to try and lay down 1, maybe 2 more laps depending on the amount of time she has left here in the session. A 136.585 is significantly faster than any lap she set yesterday. She's obviously found the confidence with this new transmission. She was doing a little bit of remote work with her tuner last night and talking to a few people about where she could pick up some time. It's great to see drivers with no issue trying to work with each other to try and find lap time. She's an ever-developing driver. She's doing a great job out here, and hopefully she can get that lap time down a little bit more. It does look like we have Mr. Kevin Parlett coming into the pits along with Mr. Michael Kosior after laying down a 32.367. I know he's going to be really happy with that lap time. The driver we expected to see more out of, though, is Mr. Jonathan Wheeler. He only did 1 lap. Didn't put himself that much closer to the enthusiast overall record. I'm wondering if it maybe had a car issue. Maybe he felt like he only wanted to lay 1 lap in this session. He's more of a guy to set lap after lap, though. He's usually a 2 to 3 lap kind of gentleman. So I hope whatever issue he may have had, obviously this is conjecture, but I hope whatever issue he may have had is going to be resolved and we get him back out there. That car you saw on track was Devin Hoffman coming in hot into the brake zone of 10A, 10B. Here she comes, down 12. A lot of commitment there. She's obviously picking up the throttle much earlier. You can hear it from up here in the tower, and we can just see it from the pace she's carrying. 35.802 picked up another second on her fastest lap. She's now 2 seconds faster than her fastest from yesterday, so she's obviously doing great. If she wants to continue this lap, she can. This next lap should count because we just threw the checker flag for the session. If that's all she's willing to throw out, though, she can come in and be happy with the effort she's put in. It looks like here's Mr. Corey Ross. If he was on a slow pace lap, this isn't going to help him because the checker flag is out. He's not going to get another flyer. 8 laps in, he did a 32.848 though, so that puts him much closer to Mike Osborne. Michael Kosior second in this session, really flying in that Street Class Evo 8. With the checkered flag out, that means the people in Group 1 are going to be lining up ready to go out. Hopefully we see everyone ready to come out in anger. Group 1 should consist of Faris Khartoumi, Eric Fleming, and it does. Let's see if Devin goes a little bit faster on this lap. Just a skosh slower. That's going to be her last lap of this session. So Group 1 is going to consist of Faris Khartoumi, Eric Fleming. We have Jackie Ding right behind. Let's talk about these first 3 drivers before we go any further. Faris Khartoumi looking to beat the overall record held by William Al Young in the 119s. Eric Fleming in his limited class built car running on slicks this weekend, so he's in unlimited, set a monster lap of a 122.9. It was really the most I've heard from anybody about any car. Obviously, Faris is fast, but the biggest difference, and Eric Fleming said this specifically, he said, look, I gave a 10/10 lap and I did a 22.9. Faris had a power steering blowout, so he was basically nowhere near pace and did a 21.9. Faris has a lot left on the table, and we're really hoping to see what kind of effort he can put in. He has a lot coming up in these next few months. He's shipping this car to Australia for World Time Attack, so any shakedown he can get is really important. Jackie Ding, fastest time of a 25.897. So incredibly close, 1200ths off of the street class record. He really wants to put a stamp on that because he's retiring this car afterwards. Whether he takes the record or not, this will be the last time we see the TA90 Supra in competition at Global Time Attack. Behind him is going to be Mr. Leaf Storer with a 26.672 in his Nissan GTR. Behind Mr. Storer, Jason Guzman at a 28.108. Behind both of them, Mr. Ryan Matthews in the C5 Corvette, laying some flying laps at a 29.639. Behind him, Mr. Alexander Gallardo, a staple here at Road Atlanta in his LS-powered 350Z, doing a 30.357. There would be one more car behind them, and that would have been Mr. Joshua Briggs flying in that Miata with a 32.758. Only downside is I think they had to take the cylinder head off that car, and they're trying to fix an issue. We were hoping to see him before the competition's out, but if we don't, the effort they put in is incredible. Looks like we do have everyone from Group 2, Session 1 coming in. This is going to be Group 1, Session 1 going on track. The fastest cars that we have here at this event. People trying to reset records, people trying to stay in front of others. This should be an exciting session. There's Uncle Tony putting up the 1 minute marker. We should see these guys going on track in 1 minute. You know what I don't see, and I feel bad for these drivers, is I don't see any sun. Group 4 and Group 3 had that perfect amount of sun just warming up the track. Right now it looks like our drone is going to have to be sitting in the darkness to be able to see what's going on. Don't get lost in the clouds up there, my friend. Don't get lost in the clouds. There we go. We do have these drivers coming out on track. Now, obviously, with the faster, higher class cars that are high strung, we tend to see 1 or 2 laps out of them at most. So what's most important is that they're able to set these flyers when they matter. And here we have Ferris starting his lap down 12. The car is a lot more composed, and I was wondering why yesterday the car seemed all over the place until I spoke with him after the session and found out he blew a power steering line. Good that he was able to get that fixed so quickly. Let's see what kind of lap time he can lay down. For those of you wondering, he was chasing a 119 held by Mr. William Al Young. He is chasing a 119.509. Eric Fleming sitting right behind him. And Jackie Ding, no stranger to Road Atlanta. He says the team gave him an incredible car. He just needs to put it all together. Mr. Leaf Store starting his flying lap. Followed by Jason Guzman. You gotta be careful around Jason. He does backflips off the wing of his car when he wins. Oh man, Ferris caught that field incredibly fast. And a 118.801, boys and girls. That's a new overall record. 118.801. Ferris Car Toomey, fastest car around Road Atlanta. Let's see what Eric Fleming's bringing to the table. A 122.825, an incredible lap out of Eric Fleming. Very respectable. If Ferris wasn't here, he'd actually hold the rear-wheel drive record, but it does look like a 118.801 is going to reset the overall record here at Road Atlanta. Let's see what Jackie Ding has. A 126.210. Jackie Ding with a 126.210. He needs to pick up about a second. Leaf Store coming around to finish his first lap. A little 127.695. His fastest lap of yesterday was a 27.672, so he's within his pace. Looks like Jason Guzman, though, picked up some pace with a 25.742. He just did a 28 yesterday. Mr. Alexander Guyota with a 32.663. He did a 30.357 yesterday. Some of these drivers are picking them up immediately. Other ones are taking a lap or two. But story of the event is still the fact that Mr. Ferris Car Toomey just did an 18.801. Coming into the pits, he's going to come in the record holder at the moment. Being this is Group 1, Session 1, with drivers such as Faris Khartoumi who are going to come out and do one flyer, come in and get checked. He may go out for another one. He may just wait for the following session, check pressures, check data, go over what the computer has to say, and then go again. Does look like the Corvette there of Mr. Matthews is coming in, but Alexander Gallardo is going again. After we see his car go down the straight, I wonder if Faris is still in the hot pit or if he took himself all the way to his pit spot. Let's see if we can grab a shot of the hot pits really quick. Our drone is doing a great job up here in these clouds, though, catching what's going on. I always wonder, Faris has been known to go out and set a second lap at events where he feels like he has a much faster pace. Now, with his new sponsorship and just renewed faith in what he does, there's a really good chance he'll go back out. Here's what we do have in the hot pits right now. We have Jackie Ding talking to his team right now. He is still off the pace for the street rear-wheel drive and overall record. Michael Cosio's car looks like it's still there from earlier. And then we have Jason Guzman's car, who has set a 125.742. He is now the third fastest car in this session. He was sitting behind a few other people yesterday, not sure if he had issues or what was going on, but at a 25.742, he is now in third place in unlimited class. Faris Khartoumi with a 118.801, and Eric Fleming with a 22.825. His 22.9 yesterday was done on scrub tires, so I know Eric Fleming is on a fresh set of sticker slicks ready to try and go faster. I do see track safety going down the hot pits, though. Not sure if that's they're going to have to tow somebody off or if that's because someone in the hot lane needs some help. Looks like we do have someone going towards the S's right now. We'll see if we can pick that up with our drone, see what's going on over there. Now, I'm not sure if that's what caused some people to stop their second flying laps. We will find out soon enough. Oh, you know what it is 10A and 10B. 10A and 10B. All it takes is a little lockup there and you are trapped. That's Eric Fleming, and I promise you, he was at full send when that happened. The smallest of mistakes right here will put you into this gravel, and the entire purpose of this gravel is to stop you at the highest of speeds. The downside, of course, is that when you get stopped in it, you're usually buried and you're not getting out on your own. He's going to be incredibly disappointed. Anyone who's been watching him long enough knows he really doesn't make that many mistakes. He does drive on the limit of his car, though. He is one of the few people that when you watch him set laps, you know for a fact he's going to continuously push the car 10 tenths. But when you're at 10 tenths 24/7, something is always bound to happen. I am hearing from race control this may have been caused by an incident, maybe someone going slow on track, someone else going fast. We don't see any car-to-car contact. It doesn't look like we have any hit anywhere, but this may have been caused by someone coming in quicker than somebody else, the person going slower, not seeing the car coming, possibly may have had to react to go ahead and go around somebody, and then once you're in a reactionary mode there in a braking zone, better to go straight than try to send it in and wad the car up. Most important thing here, obviously, is that everyone is safe. Everyone is able to drive and walk away from this. It does look like we had no car-to-car contact, though. That is confirmed. We have spoken to track safety and other drivers. It was just more along the lines of reactionary driving. Could have been something as simple as car coming up extremely quick and at the wrong time. When you take that kink, that right-hander kink, it's a little bit blind. And if you watched Mr. Fleming's video from yesterday, he's doing 180 before he hits the braking zone for 10A, 10B. We'll try to get a little bit more information, try to get back to you before the next set of sessions. We're unsure if there was any damage to the vehicle. It does look like they're about to tow off Eric's vehicle. I don't have an answer why. Everyone we're speaking to says it did go off clean. Maybe he had something happen in the gravel. Maybe it doesn't want to fire back up. We don't know at the moment. But the most important thing is he was safe. Now, for those of you watching, this is probably one of the most beautiful things about being at a world-renowned track like Road Atlanta. These people get to work quickly. They get things cleaned up. They get you off track safely and fast. You'll see this team get Eric's car on the tow truck. They obviously are very trained with getting low cars with race splitters as they do things like the Petit Le Mans here and other huge events. So they'll get his car on the tow truck. They'll go ahead and get him out of here, and they'll get all that gravel off of the racing surface. What is a downfall here is this is going to end Group 1, Session 1. We're going to be running into the 15-minute marker in about 2.5 minutes, and that's going to be the end of that. You know what I don't see on Eric's car? I don't see his splitter. Maybe that's what's going on. Maybe when he went off, it just tore the splitter off the front end. We were getting reports of picking up of debris, so there's a really good chance that whatever happened, he wasn't capable of getting it off safely. That is a nice way from Eric himself. No, the splitter is still there, so maybe it's got to be something going on. We'll try to get a little bit more report for you guys. But obviously, Eric's out of the car. Like anyone else, he went off at an insanely high rate of speed, so he probably has some adrenaline pumping through his veins right now. We'll try to get a little bit of information from him, but more than anything, we're just glad that he's okay and the car's okay. This is going to bring an end to this session. As soon as we have all of the updated timing and scoring, we will go ahead and get you what has happened in this first session. We've had a lot of good things going on. Let's go ahead and talk about when we will be back, though. As soon as we're done with showing you timing and scoring, we're going to end the broadcast for now. Make sure to turn on your notifications so you know when we go live again. We will be back at 10:05, maybe a few minutes earlier. Call it 10:03. We'll be back. We'll be pushing this stream back live to you. You won't have to worry about keeping track of time, though, as long as you have that bell clicked on the YouTube Live. Now 10:05 to 11:15 will be session 2, then 11:50 to 12:55 will be session 3. Looks like they do have the sweeper out, so they're going to go ahead and get anything and everything off of the track surface. That way the next run group that goes out still has the best possible condition to be able to go. And here we have them. We have the live times for where we're at. Jonathan Wheeler with a 34.781. Went a little bit faster than yesterday, but it still hasn't touched the overall record yet. Robert Rushton picked up a good amount of time with a 36.569. And Brad Balcom closing up that podium with a 39.162. Jackie Ding still leading with his time from yesterday of a 25.897. Ryan Matthews with a 28.023. Picked up a good amount of pace there. That is from this last run group. And Michael Kosior with a 32.367 from his most recent time out on track. Limited class is being led by Mr. Mike Osborne with a 32.265. That came from the last session out. Corey Ross with a 32.848 was able to get in the 32s, but is just shy of being in front of Mr. Osborne. And Kyle McCoo with a 33.047 in third. Talk of the event obviously is going to be Mr. Ferris Khartoumi resetting the overall record with a 118.801. Eric Fleming, who had that extremely high speed off with a 22.825, and Jason Guzman really picking up the pace with a 25.742. He was in the 30s yesterday, so we didn't know what was going on there, but he obviously came out, figured it out, and went faster. Nicholas Bright obviously leading out Pro Comp with a 142.117. That's going to be the end of session 1. We'll be back for session 2. Make sure to have those notifications on. Thank you for following us here, and we'll catch you in about 40 minutes.